Welcome to the Journal Editorial Report. I'm Paul Gigot. Well, after months of resistance, Hillary Clinton turned over her email server to the Justice Department this week, following reports that top secret information crossed that private system during her tenure as Secretary of State. The move comes as a new poll finds Clinton now trailing Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders by 7 points in New Hampshire. But the Clinton campaign is urging supporters to stay calm, arguing in a memo this week that, quote, winning campaigns have a plan and stick to it in good times and bad. Joining the panel this week, Wall Street Journal columnist and deputy editor Dan Henninger, Washington columnist Kim Strassel, and columnist and Manhattan Institute senior fellow Jason Riley. So, Kim, let's fill our viewers here in on the big picture. Now that she has turned over the email server to the FBI, what are we hoping to learn?
Well, Clinton has two distinct email headaches here. One is the FBI did take the server. They have not officially said why they took it, but it does come on the back of this Inspector General finding that volumes of classified information were on it, and some of it top secret. So the assumption is that this investigation ultimately goes to whether or not she mishandled classified data. How much
classified information was on her email, and whether or not she mishandled it? Okay, that's big question number one. What's the second one?
And the security of that computer. The second question goes to the totality of her email and whether or not she's turned over everything required to the government. And that's playing out in several courtrooms that are dealing with freedom of information requests. One such judge a couple of weeks ago got tired of the games and demanded that Mrs. Clinton and two of her aides filed declarations with the court saying that they had turned over all work-related email. That's raised more questions than it's answered. Mrs. Clinton gave a kind of half-hearted declaration. Her aides have yet to do so. We found out that at least one of her aides was also using her homebrew system. So now the question is how many more of her employees were using it, and where is all that email? And I think the bigger question of this week, Paul, which is now just starting to surface, is does all of Mrs. Clinton's email still exist somewhere? Because there is now suggestions that it was perhaps transferred off that server onto another device. And if so, where is it?
All right, Jason. And two CIA directors, former CIA directors, pleaded guilty to misdemeanors for mishandling classified information and maybe not on even the scale that Secretary Clinton has. So there's some jeopardy here for her.
Oh, there's a huge amount of jeopardy, and we know that the campaign is in panic mode because, as we saw from the memo, they're claiming that they're not in panic mode, which is, of course, the best indication that they are. But this is a huge deal. The Democratic frontrunner for the presidential nomination is under investigation by the FBI. Paul, that is a very big deal. It speaks to why her numbers are bad when it comes to trustworthiness and so forth. And again, the bigger political headache for Mrs. Clinton is going to be to the extent to which others will continue to stay on the sidelines or decide to get in other Democratic candidates.
Jason, the campaign is basically saying, look, the details don't matter. This will all go away. The public doesn't care. These White House, the Washington press corps cares. The Republicans care. The American people really don't care. And what happens if the FBI kind of lets this all go, says nothing happened, no big deal? Is she out of trouble?
No, but I think I have a kind of contrarian view of this. Look, there's probably classified information on that server. I'm sure that the FBI and the other intelligence services really want to know what was there, because most likely the Chinese have already hacked into this private server. In all probability.
Hard to believe they did.
Hard to believe they did not. So the intelligence services want to see what is on those servers, but I think once they find out, they're going to go away, as they always do. They have no interest in making a public issue out of this.
Are they really, Jason, going to say, you know what, you need to plead guilty to a misdemeanor like Dave?
I don't believe they will, but I don't believe that that's her biggest concern. Hillary Clinton, I think, believes she can survive this unless and until another Democrat comes out and starts saying, Hillary Clinton has too much ethical baggage to go forward as our nominee. No one has done that, Paul. No one is saying, Bernie Sanders isn't out there saying, we have ethical problems with our frontrunners, folk. No one's saying that. And until that happens...
Bernie's doing pretty well at the moment.
Until that happens, though, I think Clinton believes she can survive this.
All right, Kim, do you agree with that she can survive this? And Jason's not saying she will, but he's saying that she can until a Democrat begins to make the case on ethics. And so far, the big truth tellers, Bernie Sanders, he's not talking this truth.
so far, except for Democrats had a bit of a wake-up call this week. When you get cracks in the hull of an operation like Hillary Clinton's, look, the Clintons always want to suggest that they're invincible. But now you've got this FBI investigation, and Democrats are looking around. They see her terrible poll numbers. They see a lot of her liabilities, the fact that she can't necessarily effectively talk about some of what they view as their best themes: income inequality, the war on women. And they're concerned about not just, by the way, the servers and the emails, but the foundation questions and other ethical baggage. So I think the question is, as Jason states it, does somebody else get in? Does Barack Obama decide to start distancing himself from her? Does some grand poobah in the party call her out? In which case, all of this could start come tumbling down.
Who's the poobah that's going to do this? I mean, look. I mean, Joe Biden is going to. He might get in, but he'd have a terrible time beating her. He'd have to organize late. John Kerry may get in after he wins the Nobel Peace Prize later this fall for the Iran deal.
Right.
But that's the only real plausible threat to her, don't you think?
Absolutely. But look, she's trying to reassemble Barack Obama's new coalition base, the new majority. A significant part of that majority is now supporting Bernie Sanders. A significant amount. And the question is, are those people going to vote for Hillary if she is the nominee, or are they going to stay home? They have a really big problem at the moment.
All right. Thank you.